One of my biggest questions after that episode really comes down to when we put our inputs into the system, it goes to a server to be thought out and to generate the response. Will those questions and that response be used to help other ChatGPT systems in the future?
OpenAI may use conversations to improve the system, but that's done in a way that's carefully managed with privacy in mind. The goal is to make the AI better at understanding general patterns, not to share specific personal details. You can also opt out of training if that's a concern. So while the system improves, the intention is to keep user trust intact.
So it strips personally identifiable information from those questions and responses, but still uses it in a way to gather patterns of questions and responses. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that's right. The process is designed to remove or anonymize identifiable information. What's kept are broader patterns, like how questions are structured or common topics, so the model gets better at helping in general, not at remembering individuals.
Wow, that really sounded like something out of a movie with the interference or the poor reception that we get every once in a while.
This isn't just a podcast. It's a reminder of what makes America stronger isn't a headline or a hashtag.
It's people, from the ones building our homes to the ones rebuilding their lives.
Veterans, tradesmen, neighbors, and volunteers. Real people doing real things.
Here we find common ground first, and then we work on our differences.
This is the Collective Perspective Podcast,
where purpose, people, and progress meet.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Collective Perspective Podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm here with my best friend Trav. Hey, what's up, Trav?
What's up, Jeff? What's up, everybody out there?
And today we're having a recap from last week about our interview with AI. We hope we didn't trigger anybody. Actually, we hope we did. Travis, who do you think we actually talked to during that interview? What was it that we were talking to?
Wow. It really just sounded like we were talking to someone that just gives straightforward answers.
No personality.
Yeah, not really a personality. There's no warm fuzzy when talking to it. It's just, here are the facts, or here's what I found, and lays it out.
Besides just the digital interruption with the internet and stuff like that, there was no real grammatical errors in the way that they spoke either.
No, I think they took the English language and did a pretty good job with giving those responses.
What did you think after you're hearing it respond to your questions?
In simple terms, I think it can be a useful tool. It was helpful in giving information that I was curious about during that interview. A lot of it being privacy related. And that may still limit my use of it, but it may not. I don't think it will keep me from using it at all.
One of the questions I had, let me just ask it real quick.
Good. Let's see what question you had.
Being that you're a personal assistant and sometimes personal things come up, what would you say the guidelines should be about talking about your own personal experiences and stuff like that?
I think a good guideline is to share what's comfortable for you, but leave out sensitive identifying details. It's fine to talk about broad experiences, like how you've approached a challenge or how you felt. Just get the private data. If you treated it like you're talking to a helpful colleague, you'll keep things both useful and safe.
How would it be unsafe if you exposed more than that?
If you share too much, you could unintentionally expose private or sensitive info, like your identity or someone else's. In some cases, that could risk privacy, confidentiality, or even compliance with laws like HIPAA. Keeping identifiable details out ensures you protect yourself and others from any unintended consequence.
So basically what they're saying there is that nothing's really going to happen, but if something did happen, you would be busted based off of the HIPAA violations.
Yes, and I think that it would probably, I generally with a lot of conversations that I have, unless it's with someone who's trained to answer certain questions, I don't use a lot of personally identifiable information or get too personal with them.
Where does AI fit into everyday life right now, would you say?
I think just as it says it is a personal assistant. Hey, set a reminder to do this or set an alarm. That's already what we do with our phones these days.
How did you get here, Travis?
I got in my car and drove.
Okay, but you told me you'd be here in 40 minutes. How did you figure that out?
I used a map.
You used
Waze.
AI.
Yeah, I used Waze.
You used AI. That's what you did.
But it lied because I was here in like 33 minutes. I'm just kidding.
Well, again, you used AI to get here. You use AI every day to travel. You use AI to, uh, you know, tell Siri to do something or Alexa to order something on Amazon. So
We use it
you already
already.
you already use it. So what is holding you back, Travis? From do you have any difference of opinion now that you
I
had the
think
conversation with it?
I think that yeah, I will use it more. I use it for other things as well. I like to try to gauge stock market stuff and see what might hit, what might miss. I think it's a good tool to judge when to get into something or when to get out when it comes to that. So yeah, I'll use it more as we're going forward, but I may be one of those slow adopters or a late adopter. I'm not one of the early ones like Jeff is. He's been on the forefront of it for a little bit now. For at least the last year or two, he's been saying, this is it. This is going to be the thing to do. Get behind it now. And maybe I should have, especially with the stock stuff, because AI is going to go up and which company, don't know. So you got to keep an eye out on those types of things and see how we develop and make sure that whichever one has the right safeguards in place. I think that's a big key to me, is making sure it has good safeguards for privacy, personal identity, those types of things.
In the context of being overused or misused, I would say the whole privacy thing is where the misuse comes from. I would also imagine that, I mean, unless you can program your own open AI and personal assistant, it does not seem like those platforms, no matter ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, are going to let you do something destructive to mankind of some sorts. At least not with their assistance. So I don't see it being overused or misused in that fashion, but misused in the sense that somebody, these data breaches, I would say that's where the misuse would be coming from.
And I don't think that's from the AI platform itself. That's from people. That's the human interaction with it, that where we'll see the misuse. Someone breaking into the algorithms or breaking into their servers and stealing data. That's the biggest problem, I think, is how do we keep that data safe and secure?
Where I kind of see it overused at this point right here is to hire a complete staff of people or bots to do, everything. I think that's a little bit too much reliant on it, but human touch, human responsibility is an important thing too. Where did you feel impressed versus cautious? Did you feel impressed, Travis, or were you cautious about it?
I still feel a little bit of caution, but only because it states itself that context is key in a lot of the prompts and questions and responses that it gives. There are some nuanced context to a lot of problems that we have. And if it's not articulated correctly, it may give you a different answer than what you're looking for.
I look at it as a big Google algorithm. You maybe those two words don't go good together, but you used to go Google search and it would just show you the next website or whatever. Now even Google's Gemini answers in an AI form. I look at it as just a big searching the internet files and patterns and finding the answer that's best suitable for your question or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of search platforms are using some sort of AI assistant. At least that's what like DuckDuckGo, Google. I don't know if Bing is doing it or any Chrome or Firefox type of search platforms, but yeah, it seems like that those would be the obvious next step to using the AI.
Did interviewing ChatGPT seem human in any way?
Not really, because of the cold, matter of fact answers. It was lacking emotion, which it's not real, so it wouldn't have emotion. It doesn't know fear, anger, pain, those love, joy. So, no, I don't think it would. It felt more sterile of an interaction.
So a lot of places I use ChatGPT when I use ChatGPT is for a lot of clerical things. So we're emotional people as humans, and there are some times where you get emotional over stuff and you want to give a certain point, and sometimes I would sit there like 30 minutes trying to write something in response that wouldn't get me terminated. Sometimes. Instead of doing that, I can tell ChatGPT, like, look, this is what I want to say. Please clean it up in a professional manner. And it's kind of like Grammarly or, spell check or anything like that, which all are AI, by the way. It makes time go a lot faster because now instead of 30 minutes of rewriting and editing, I can just go, okay, this is what I want to say. Keep it clean, professional, and I want to keep my job. And that prompt right there will deliver you a copy and paste. Of course, you should read it first.
I've actually used that recently to write a couple of letters. And when I did that, I still had to go back through and make some adjustments on my own. It polished it up really nicely, but at the end, I still wanted my voice to come through, and I had to change a few things so that it sounded more like it was coming from me and not just generated.
Well, and one thing ChatGPT had said too, it's just a mirror of whoever's in there, right? So I would give it prompts like, make sure, like just dumb this down a little bit. It doesn't have to be like unemotional language. Just kind of dumb it down, make it relaxed, make it definitely sound like me. And hey, let's try it out. Hey, we're trying to experiment here. Could you help us?
Absolutely. I'm all about a good experiment. What's the plan? What are we trying out?
Today, this guy wanted to return something, and I'm just to my wits' end with this guy, right? I want to be as nice as I can. I want to keep my job. How would I formulate some type of response to him in an email?
I get it. That's tricky. You could keep it professional but calm. Something like, "Hi, name. I appreciate your patience. We're happy to assist with your return following our policy. Could you give a receipt or more details to resolve this smoothly?" That way, you're firm but fair.
When do you think we should step away from? I guess that would be more of a question for me, huh?
Yeah.
When should you step away from using it?
When should you step away from using AI?
I think if I come to a point where I'm trying to get every answer to every problem I have, that's a time to step away from AI. I think you have to leave it up to yourself to decide a lot of things. But I also feel that sometimes I think I can get AI to come out with something that sounds pretty genuine that you wouldn't know that I used it. And there's certain things that I'm not going to tell you. It's not life or death type stuff. Don't get me wrong. But there's certain things about the language or the type of characters it uses and stuff like that that would be a key indicator for me to read something and go, that was written by ChatGPT. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think you can tell you can tell the voice, like I mentioned earlier, it's very sterile, very clean, too perfect for a person to be.
Yeah, but I'm not talking just the verbal part of it, though. I'm talking about just written text. If I were to take something and write it to you, hey, have you ever noticed anything that I sent you that seemed AI?
Yeah, I've seen some of the things that looked AI, but at the same time, you've been building this model and these prompts for so long that it does hide a lot of it in your voice.
You understand?
Yeah, I think people's voice actually comes through in text as well. I've been reading a lot of throughout my career. I've read a lot of research papers and journal articles and people writing things to where their voice comes through in their writing, and I can see knowing you. I know your voice and how you speak and how you talk and how you bring ideas out that sometimes when you send me something that's AI generated, I can tell, oh, that was mostly AI, or there's a good bit of AI in it.
Yeah, I mean, like the text that I wrote you today was completely AI. I didn't. I just said, "Hey, this is what I want to say," and I said why. I was explaining these two interviews, for example, on artificial intelligence with Travis, and I wrote him a pretty long text,
It was
pretty
good
long thread, but
text.
it was detailed. It was in my voicing. It wasn't anything complex. I didn't use difficult words that I don't normally use. So I could tell by your expression you had no idea I didn't sit there and actually type all that. Or maybe you did.
Oh, I had a good idea because you don't normally write big text like that. And I wouldn't either. If I do, I just kind of talk into it and have it type out what I say. Um, but you were going through an outline though, so that's a little different. Numbered bullets, this, that, and the other in the text. That would be too many prompts for me because when I start talking to it, I talk like back in the day when we used to use this program called Dragon, Naturally Speaking. It was a talk to text program back in the early 2000s. And maybe that's where it gets a lot of its language identification from, or it can understand and spell the words from those earlier programs back in the early 2000s. But when you're talking to your phone to type something out at the end of a sentence, I'll put period or exclamation point, next paragraph, and then it'll go down to the next one period. You have to give all of those prompts when you're doing that kind of dictation.
Who benefits from AI the most? I would say business owners, someone in sales like me, someone that's doing something repetitively and doesn't violate any type of personal violation, personal HEPA violations. I don't run my credit cards or store my credit cards through ChatGPT or anything like that. All it is just business communication.
Just business communication. That's
So
it.
I also use it to, I took all of my expenditures for tax season and I put them all in there and it made an Excel spreadsheet for me, pretty easy. Who feels threatened by them and why?
I think maybe the older generation will still feel threatened by a lot of the AI stuff because of how they or we were brought up.
Are you part of the older generation, Travis?
At this point, probably.
I think there's one generation before us still.
There's still a couple.
Gen X, the best generation there is.
That's right.
I think we're the most reasonable.
Yeah, the most FAFO generation.
So I use ChatGPT pretty extensively to help me with outlines and stuff like that, even for the show. It keeps it keeps me from, or us, missing certain opportunities to talk about things that we overlooked. And it identifies that so we can keep on target.
And there may be some questions that we forget, and sometimes using the ChatGPT with its large language model, the LLM, it's able to search its servers for other commonly asked questions or misconceptions about any given topic that we want to talk about. So, how do we stay grounded in truth when using these these AI models?
I would say that you still have to try to find multiple sources for things and cross-reference things these days. Unfortunately, you can't just rely on ChatGPT. I can tell you that I can ask it something that I know, and if it answers it incorrectly, I will challenge it and be like, "Oh yeah, you're right," and it'll find a different answer.
And that's where context and knowing your subject will really come into play when using it as a tool. Sometimes it'll throw an answer out there. You're like, that doesn't sound quite right. This is more what I was thinking. And according, how Jeff uses it, it'll go back and research and find something to support your claim. But at the same time, you still have to check it. It's not always going to be correct based on your inputs. So double checking it and checking sources it might be a little bit faster than doing the legwork on your own for the whole topic.
But not only that is if you're going to use the free version of ChatGPT and not pay the $19.99 a month, then I would say that your experience is going to be slightly altered as well.
Good point.
So it's kind of like using an old model. It's like playing PS3 when there's PS5 out, almost PS6, and there's a huge difference, just graphically and games and such like that. So if you're using the free version of something, can't expect much. Another thing too is that during busy hours that the server's being used, those that are not paying get halted. So you only get a certain amount of questions that you can ask ChatGPT in one day.
Oh, I did not know that.
Right. And so it's good for a while, but then, once you ask it 3 or 4 questions, it's like, sorry, you run out of time. So
what would be my takeaway from it? Yeah, I think it is going to be and continue to be a tool that we all need to learn how to deal with and use appropriately. I think it'll be a great way to really save time for us, especially creators, people that are constantly making things or going out of their way to come up with something new. It helps with the research. That's really how I would use it as a research assistant.
What are you going to research, Travis?
That's between me and my ChatGPT.
The thing I have about authenticity in AI is that it's like the chicken before the egg, right? Or maybe it's the egg before the chicken. But, if I come up with a thought and I present it to ChatGPT and it helps me redefine that thought, it was still my thought to begin with, wasn't it? So it was my thought to put it in there, and it's also my thought to take it out of there. So if I were to say, hey, this is my thought, this is what it came with to help me, and I took it out of there and presented it to the world, then it's something that I used a tool to use to create something.
To develop a solid thought process or thought.
Or whatever, And so if you start looking at it that way, it definitely is a tool. I'm the type of person that I only have tools as as need basis. Travis, like I said, has probably like 3 walls versus tools and stuff, but that's what he's into. My tool's a little bit different. It's $19.99 a month. So much cheaper. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode. If you have a question, ask someone that uses ChatGPT. I think a lot of people, we don't want to use the word fear or scared, but, fear is based off of things you don't know and doesn't make you simple-minded or weak. But you never know until you try it.
Yep. So give us a like, share, comment. Let us know your thoughts below. What do you use it? How do you use it? We'd like to find out new ways that we can improve as well.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Later.